What does it feel like to take aphrodisiac by mistake? The real feelings of mature women. Hi everyone, I am Dudu. Today we have to talk about a topic that frequently appears in novels and TV dramas, but in reality it hides dangers: aphrodisiac. Imagine that in those exciting plots, as soon as aphrodisiac appears, the story instantly becomes thrilling and exciting like an ignited gunpowder barrel. But in our real life, aphrodisiacs are far from being as cool as they are in TV dramas. In fact, they have become tools for some people with bad intentions to commit crimes and are used to do some shameful things to satisfy their twisted desires. Today, let's talk about the inside and outside of this aphrodisiac and see what it isn't, the creepy things behind it. Let's first define this mysterious guy, aphrodisiac. At present, there are three main theories about aphrodisiacs. The first one is that some people say that aphrodisiacs are drugs that can make people lose their minds instantly, which is a bit like psychedelic drugs. This is like when we go to the hospital for surgery. Anesthetics can also make us confused. But anesthetics will not make people faint all of a sudden like in the movies. They must be used in accordance with strict procedures and dosages. If aphrodisiacs really had the effect of making people lose their minds instantly, it would be too scary. Once they are hit, people are like puppets being manipulated, and anything outrageous may happen. The second definition is that aphrodisiacs can't amplify people's sexual desire to an unimaginable degree, which is what everyone often calls aphrodisiacs. However, up to now, the medical community has never admitted that there are drugs that can't really stimulate and infinitely amplify human sexual desire. If you think about it carefully, it is right. If there really is such a magical drug, the world will be in chaos. However, in some small advertisements or legends on the streets, there are always people who put their chests in to claim that they have this kind of magic medicine that can change sexual happiness. But in fact, most of them are tricks to deceive people, waiting for those who are curious or desperate to take the bait. The third theory is that aphrodisiacs can improve sexual endurance, similar to aphrodisiacs. There are indeed a small number of drugs that can play a certain auxiliary role for those suffering from sexual dysfunction by accelerating blood circulation. But this is completely different from the aphrodisiac that we imagine in our minds, which can make people instantly become super gods. It cannot fundamentally improve people's sexual ability. At most, it can help people with dysfunction. Speaking of this, you must be like me, itching in your heart, especially curious about this legendary aphrodisiac. What does it feel like after taking it? I flipped through the internet and really found some warrior netizens who shared their personal experiences. There was a netizen who bought a bottle of so-called aphrodisiac wine out of sheer curiosity. He said that the thing at first glance was no different from ordinary water, transparent and colorless, unordinary. But he still couldn't help it and mustered up the courage to drink it. As a result, just after 3 minutes, he felt dizzy and his head was like being stuffed with countless bees, buzzing. At the same time, his heartbeat began to soar as fast as if he had just finished a marathon, and he felt that his heart was about to jump out of his throat. After finally making it to 10 minutes, the symptoms of dizziness were slightly relieved, and the heartbeat slowly returned to normal. But his limbs became soft, as if he had no bones, but he could still hold on and didn't collapse directly. After 1 hour, all the uncomfortable symptoms completely disappeared, and his body finally returned to normal. In the end, he concluded that he had wasted his money and bought a completely fake medicine. How funny is this? Not only did he lose his money, but he also suffered for nothing. This curiosity almost got him into trouble. There was another netizen who bought aphrodisiacs once before. He was also driven by curiosity and wanted to try out the power of this thing. He was quite courageous and used 3 doses at once. As a result, he began to feel dizzy after about 5 minutes. The world in front of him became blurry. Then he fainted and slept until the next day before waking up. I guess he was very scared after waking up. He quickly threw the remaining drugs away, fearing that he would get into trouble again. If this was used by a bad person with bad intentions, the consequences would be unimaginable. Maybe when he woke up, his whole life would be rewritten. In addition, most people shared that the feeling of taking aphrodisiacs was like being drunk and blacking out. He was confused and didn't remember anything. It seems that no matter whether this aphrodisiac is real or fake, if you take it, there will be no good results. You will either suffer or fall into a dangerous situation. My dears, we know what it feels like to take aphrodisiacs, but how terrible are the drugs? The soul-loving drugs on the market now are all powerful guys that can act on the central nervous system of the human body. They are mainly divided into 3 categories, and we will break them down and talk about them one by one. The first category is sedatives. If you take this stuff orally, people will feel like they are under a spell, and their consciousness will become unclear then. They will start to feel drowsy and their ability to move will gradually decrease. At the same time, their vigilance will drop sharply, and they will be particularly easy to be led by others on, except the other parties. And imagine that in a corner outside you accidentally take this stuff, and when the drug effect comes on, you can only be at the mercy of others, and you will be taken away by bad guys without knowing it. How dangerous it is, just thinking about it makes people's backs cold. The second type is anesthetics, which are even more ruthless. They can enter the human body through gas inhalation or intravenous injection. Once used, people will immediately lose consciousness and fall into a state of sleep. If the dose is too large, they may even pass out. This is simply the real props of the kidnapping scenes in the movie. If the bad guys use it on innocent people, the consequences are simply unimaginable. It can put people in desperate situations in minutes. The third type is stimulants. After oral administration, the ingredients in it will quickly spread in the body with the blood circulation and affect the central nervous system. After just 5 to 15 minutes, people's cognition will be seriously affected and become abnormally excited, just like taking chicken blood. At the same time, all kinds of strange hallucinations will occur, and even in terms of sexual desire, there will be strong reactions. When the drug effect wears off and you wake up, you will forget everything that happened before, just like your brain has been formatted. What's more frightening is that some of these drugs are actually soft drugs and new drugs, which are much worse than simple drugs. Not only will they cause great damage to personal, physical, and mental health, but they will also cause a series of social problems. My dears, drugs are so terrible that now they are rampant both online and offline. Although it is illegal to sell drugs privately in China, the internet is so developed that a random search on the shopping platform will bring up many shops selling drugs. There are all kinds of exaggerated propaganda on the pages, such as instantly knocked out and obediently surrendered, which makes people terrified. Even offline, the walls of men's public toilets are contact information for drug sellers. The small advertisements are like psoriasis, and they can't be cleaned up no matter what. It can be said that they are everywhere. So when we go out, how can ourselves from being cheated by these harmful drugs? I have summarized 3 practical tips for you. Be sure to take a small notebook and write them down. First, be careful when going out for parties and dates. Our ancestors have long said, one must be on guard against others. Even if you are going out to have fun with friends you have known for a long time, you should not be careless. Let alone those netizens you have only chatted with online and have never met. If you can avoid dating strangers alone, try not to go. If you really can't refuse, you must bring a friend you trust, preferably one who is smart and reliable. One more person means one more pair of eyes and one more guarantee. Just like a friend of mine, she met an online friend online before, and they had a good chat. The other party asked her to meet, and she felt that they could talk well, so she wanted to meet. Fortunately, she was careful and brought her best friend along. As a result, after meeting, she found that the netizen's eyes flickered, and his words were incoherent, which was a bit wrong. The two of them quickly found an excuse and slipped away. If she went alone at the time, I don't know what would happen. It would be terrible. Second, don't drink drinks that are out of sight. Nowadays, entertainment venues such as bars and K-verses are crowded and complex. If your drink leaves your sight, whether you go to the toilet or chat with others for a while, don't drink it again after you come back. Think about it. The moment you turn around, the bad guys may add drugs to your drink without knowing it. When you drink it, it's like opening Pandora's box and troubles will follow. I've heard that someone in a bar drank a drink that left his sight, and after waking up, he found himself in a strange place, and his valuables, such as mobile phones and wallets, were gone. He was stunned and regretted it too late. The third point is not to easily eat food and drinks given by others. Don't be lucky and think that there will be no problem if the packaging is intact. Some bad guys are very clever. They can use syringes to inject drugs into food without anyone noticing. From the outside, you can't find anything unusual. It's like packaged juice and snacks. Even ordinary bread may be tampered with by them. So, don't easily put food and drinks into your mouth unless you open it yourself or watch others open it. My dears, when you go out, don't think that such unfortunate things are far away from you and will not happen to you, so you relax your vigilance. Maybe in some inconspicuous dark corner there is a pair of malicious eyes staring at you. When we go out to play, we must keep in close contact with friends or family, report safety from time to time, and share our location and situation. If you notice anything wrong, don't hesitate. Call the police immediately and let the police uncle protect us. We must protect ourselves well and not let the bad guys take advantage of us. I hope that what we talked about today can help you have a deeper and clearer understanding of aphrodisiacs and drugs, and help you be more vigilant and less dangerous in your future life so that you can live safely and happily every day. Well, that's all for today's video. Welcome to Leave a Message for Discussion. We'll talk again next time. Bye.